Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self-help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you about your ancestors. You know, we all have wisdom that comes from our ancestors that gets passed down from generation to generation. And most people think that when our ancestors die and when they move on, the only way that we can be helped by this wisdom is when we remember it. You know, when you get together with your families and people will say, well, remember when Aunt so-and-so used to say this, or Dad always used to say this. But we actually have ancestors who are with us all of the time. And they're trying to help us and to guide us on our path. And I remember one time I had a reading, it was a long time ago, and somebody said that to me, like, oh, you have, your ancestors are all around, and I was like, sure, okay. And I really didn't pay attention to it. You know, I thought, well, that's a nice idea. But I didn't really know what that meant, you know. What do you mean my ancestors are all around me? But then lately, as I've been going through a spiritual awakening and opening up to things more and more, opening the third eye and crown chakra, I've been experiencing some interesting things. And one of the things that I've noticed is that whenever I go to sleep at night, as I'm just laying there, just trying to get comfortable, I will see like shadows in my room that look like figures, and I'm not scared by them. I used to see them when I was younger too, but it did scare me back then, so I would like close my eyes and be like, go away, whatever this is. But as an adult, it doesn't scare me, you know. And I didn't really know who it was or what it was. Now I know sometimes it's Archangel Michael coming through. And with him, I usually see like sparkles of blue light out of the corner of my eye. And if you take a picture, like you'll see the blue orbs in the picture. So that's really interesting. And I've even had a picture one time I was saying prayers to Archangel Ariel all the time because I was trying to manifest certain things in my life. And I just took a selfie and I put it on Instagram. And I think it was Asia, one of my listeners, who sent me a message and said, did you see the pink orb? I said, no. And I went back and looked at the picture, and sure enough, there was a pink orb like right above my head, I think. And I knew that was Archangel Ariel. So certain archangels will come in a certain color. So like when you see a green orb sometimes in your pictures, that's Archangel Raphael. So it's really interesting when you see those things. And I've started seeing more and more, or not, I don't want to say seeing, it's not seeing really for me, although the shadowy figures at night that I'm seeing. But sometimes for me, it's more of just like a knowing, like I just know. Do you ever feel like somebody's standing behind you or is with you, or you just know somebody's right there, but you can't see it, you just feel it and you know it? And that's what happens to me sometimes. And sometimes I will get certain things, like whenever I had to drive for work, I would drive an hour each way. And sometimes I would be sitting in my car driving, and it would feel like someone was scratching the back of my head, like rubbing your head. Not in a bad way, but it would feel like, tingly in the back of my head, like somebody was touching my head. And then I would smell cigarette smoke. And there are a couple of people I know who have crossed over who smoked. But on certain times it was like I knew it was my grandpa that I had never met here on Earth. I'm sure we've, known each other on the other side. But I knew it had to be, like I just knew it was him. Because I would smell the cigarette smoke and I'm like, yeah, I just know. And then there are other times when I will smell, for me, it's like flowers. And to me, I know that is my grandma coming through. And I've had readings since then where I've been told that those people are around me a lot. And I was like, yeah, I already know that. Now, you didn't have to tell me. I already know that. I sense it when they're here. I mean, I don't always sense it, Sometimes I'm so busy going through life that I don't even realize that they're trying to get my attention. But other times when I'm quiet, driving to work, it's very quiet for me. There would be stillness, and that's when I would notice it. Or if I'm at home and I'm alone and I'm not doing 500,000 things, then I notice that presence more. In the last couple of days, I've been feeling like a tingling around the top of my head. So again, I know that it's some presence. I think I know who, but I'm not positive 100%. And I know that those people come around when we need guidance. Sometimes, I've had people say this to me before, where they will be missing a particular person so badly, and they'll just say to that person, I really need you to come through because I really want to see you. I miss you. And it's when you do that you'll notice that you might feel a presence around you. Or, we talk about how sometimes they can give us signs that they're around. I notice that I see butterflies a lot, and I really feel like that's a sign for me. And to me, I don't know, I feel like butterflies are a sign that my grandma's around. But I also know that, and I know I've told this story before, but I had a reading once, and they said, the person said, oh, well, your grandma and then bunnies. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. It didn't mean anything to me at the time. And then I went over to my cousin's house, and there was a picture on the her buffet, and I thought it was of her granddaughter. So I walked over just to see, because I couldn't even remember what she had looked like as a baby. And she was about 10 now. So I went over and I looked at the picture, and I realized it was not a picture of her granddaughter, but of my niece, Jenna. And my niece is named Virginia, so Jenna is just a nickname, but she was named after my grandma and then my brother-in-law's grandma as well. And the picture frame said, I love you very much, and I noticed right next to the picture frame were 2 ceramic bunnies, and behind that was a plate that had a bunny on it, and it was just that day earlier that I had gotten that reading. So when I saw that, I about fell on the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So you got my attention, I'm listening. And I know you're here, and I know that you're telling me that you love me. And that kind of thing happens all the time. We will get signs from our loved ones showing us that they're still here and they're still guiding us. So when we talk about ancestral wisdom, we're talking about our ancestors, and these can even be people that we didn't know here on earth, because I never met my grandpa. He died before I was born. Yet I know that he's with me, and I know he's around me. And they can also be people that we did know here. I had a reading not too long ago, and my ex-husband's dad showed up, and the person said he's really sorry about his son, and that's not how he raised him. And it makes even more sense to me now, because I've just found out some even more disturbing and upsetting things about him and my children. And so for me, that was even more timely of him showing up and saying that. And it was also validation for me to know that it's all going to be okay. And I know that I have people who are watching my back, who are guiding me, who are there. I know that they protect and watch my children. And it's comforting. And so we might feel like sometimes as we're going through life that we're just wandering around aimlessly, not really knowing where to go. But I promise you that you have people who are with you and who are wanting to guide you. We all have ancestors who are with us. We have people who will send us signs if we ask them to. And you may feel sometimes as if you're all alone, but I promise you you're not. Not only do we have our ancestors here guiding us, we have actual guides. And the guides that we have are sometimes people that we have incarnated here on earth with. So we've lived lives with them before where we were both in the physical. And sometimes they're just people who are guides that haven't been with us, not on earth, but we made pacts with them that they're going to guide us while we're here. I was doing a Facebook Live just last night, and when I'm doing the live, it's very hectic and a lot of things going on, and I always ask my spiritual team to come in. I always start the reading with that, and I know that they're with me. But then I start doing the readings and I just start talking to people and get going, and I have a tendency to talk if you've ever been on one of my lives, and I don't really pay attention to much else. So I did my live and I wasn't really thinking about anything else, and then I was talking to my friend Jay afterwards, and he said, there was something behind you in the last 5 minutes. And I don't know if everyone could see it on the actual video, and I haven't gone back yet to check it. I want to go back and do that. I just haven't had a chance yet. But he's like, yeah, I saw something like standing right behind you. And sometimes some people can see things, they're more open to seeing things because, there are different kinds of psychic abilities that we have. Some people are clairaudient, some are clairvoyant. There are so many different ways that you might have psychic abilities. So some people can see those things a lot easier. And I don't know if it's something that if I go back and watch that I would see on the video or not. But I know, like, for example, he's taken pictures before and sent them to me, and you can clearly see like an angel in the picture. I posted that on my Facebook page, and he shared the picture with the Clairvoyant Collective, and I asked if I could share it on my page. So I did, and you can see it clearly. And then there were some pictures recently, and you could see the orbs and things like that. It's just so awesome and interesting, and the fact that we can even catch that on film or on video now, And even when you had the old film where you had to take it in to be developed, I've seen old pictures as I've gone back and looked at some old pictures of mine where you can clearly see orbs and things like that in the picture. So it's really interesting. But I knew, because I had called in my spiritual team, asking that whoever needed to hear the message, that they hear it loud and clear. And, he said, I think that was a guide who was stepping forward because somebody really needed a message. And it's interesting how that works, but it really does work. There will be times that I talk to people and they'll ask me a question about something, and my own personal self, I don't have the wisdom to give people the answers that they really need to hear. But I just call on my team and say, what does this person need to hear? How should this person proceed, or what should they do? And then I'm given guidance, and things just pop into my head, and so I start telling them what I'm getting. And people will say, that's exactly what I needed to hear, or that's exactly what I thought I should do, or that's how I'm proceeding. And it's not me being, people say this to me, and I just think it's so funny. They'll say, oh, you're so smart. It's not me, trust me. It's really not. It's me channeling the guidance that I'm told to give to other people. Because me and my own human wisdom and human brain, I don't have access to all the information that people need, the medical stuff, the psychological stuff. But when I connect to my team and I say, what does this person need or what's going on? And that's when I'm given all of this information. And it's interesting because I've talked to several people who have written songs or they wrote a book. And they said that as they were sitting down to write it, it's like it just flowed out of them and they don't even know how, and they didn't feel like it was them writing it. And I totally understand that, because as I was writing my book, I felt the same way. I knew that I had to get a message across, and I knew that the universe was asking me to step forward in my power to write about my story because I knew that there were people out there who needed to hear it because they were going through the same things and they weren't sure where to turn or what to do. And in my own situation, I didn't know what to do. I learned a lot through trial and error, a lot of error. And so, the universe was saying, listen, you can spare people a lot of the heartbreak that you went through simply by sharing your wisdom with them. In sharing your wisdom, you are going to be helping them avoid a lot of the painful mistakes that you made. And you'll help them get back on their feet a lot faster. And you'll also help them to understand that they're not alone and that they are not the only person who's ever gone through this. That you're there too. You've been through it too. And that you can survive it. And not only survive it, you can thrive and you can be even better than you were before. And if you had asked me when I first got divorced if I was going to come out of this on the other side better than before, I would have said, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to survive this. That's what I would have said. I'm just really not sure because I feel like everywhere I turn, there's an obstacle against me. And I felt like that for a long time. And it wasn't until I realized that I can do anything and I can get through anything. And I'm a strong person, and that's not, I'm not, a lot of people say that and people's reactions are, oh yeah, you're a strong person. But you know what? It takes a lot of inner strength to get through a situation like that. And I'm still experiencing the effects of that, of divorce, to this day. My children are 17, and they're even now just bringing forth things that I didn't understand or I didn't realize that happened to them when they were with their dad. And it's hurtful things and things that were out of my control and things that now I'm once again going to have to deal with and take control of and try to help them with and help them deal. And I could sit there and say it isn't fair and I can play the victim. But the truth is, I know that I have people behind me, helping me every step of the way. People who are looking out for us, who are going to help us get through this. We can survive anything. And I know that I've had a lot of guidance along the way. And in those dark days in the beginning, I didn't know how much guidance I had. I didn't realize I had a whole team there. I didn't realize that I had ancestors who were behind me, helping me. It wasn't until I chose to open my eyes and see that there was this whole world out there to help me. But we have those people. Our ancestors really, really want to be there for us. And the funny thing is, I think this is interesting because people will say, well, I'm not close to my family. And I get that. But I didn't even know my grandpa. Yet he still shows up and still to be like, hey, I'm here. And I did know my grandma, but she lived far away from me, so I only saw her once or twice a year. So we weren't as close as I am with my other grandma, yet I still know she's here. She still watches out and that she loves me. And I can feel that presence all the time. And it's when we finally decide to slow down and take a moment and just meditate, sit in stillness, that we start to pay attention and we start to notice the signs that are always around us. They're always around us. I know that I've had people contact me during the live sessions and even just on Facebook saying, I really miss so-and-so, and is he around, or is she with me, or I feel like this is a sign, and is it? If you think it's a sign, it's a sign, when you think about that person and you look up and you see something, that's not a coincidence. It's like they put that thought there, like, hey, I'm here. And at that exact moment, we can look up and see things that maybe remind us of them. Cardinals are a thing for me. I see cardinals all the time, and they remind me of my papa. And it's just like a little wink to me that, yeah, he's here. Yes, he watches. And even if you've gone and had readings before and they don't necessarily bring certain people through, it doesn't mean they're not. It doesn't mean they're not here. So don't be discouraged by that. And you can ask for your loved ones to bring through certain signs. Or you can just say, hey, let me know you're here, in a way that I'll know it's you. And you can leave it open. And the thing is, when you know, you know, you know. You know? You know when it's the person and when the sign was meant for you. You just know. And it's extremely comforting to me to know that we have our ancestors with us and that we have a whole spiritual team who is made up of people that we've known in past lives before and people who just have never been in a life with us but just decided to be our guides for this time. And sometimes we have guides who are always with us, and sometimes we have certain ones that are with us for a certain time. And as with everything I say, if this resonates with you, great. And if you're like, you are full of it, BS, well, you can just let it go. If it doesn't make sense to you, let it go. You have to know what rings true for your soul. What I do know is that we have a lot of people around us who want us to succeed, who want to help us, who want to protect us. And they just want to get our attention sometimes, They want us to know, hey, I'm here. I'm here. And I'm with you, and I'm helping you. And we've all had days where it just seems like everything is crashing down on us, where the weight of the world just seems to be on our shoulders, and it's like one more thing happens and I'm going to lose it and totally break down because that's normal. And I really feel like it's at those times that our family members, our guides, it's like they tap us on the shoulder and say, hey, I'm here. I got your back. What do you need? And we can ask our spiritual team for help. We can ask our ancestors too. We definitely can. I had to laugh because I had a reading done. I was doing a practice reading with someone, and she said to me, do you ever feel your eye like twitching? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, whenever you're like interested in a person, if it's like not the person your grandma thinks you should be with, she like flicks you in the eye, so your eye starts twitching. And I just died laughing because I was like, really? And I knew exactly, like, my eye seriously does that sometimes. But I really never paid attention, to when it was happening. And I just had to laugh, and I said, well, can she pick a different way to get my attention? Because flicking me in the eye seems so mean. And we laughed about it. But in a way, too, it also made me feel good because I know that she cares and that she's there and she's trying to help steer me away from jerks. Unfortunately, if she did that when I was with my ex-husband, I wasn't paying attention. So that's my bad, Grandma. I wasn't paying enough attention. But no, I'm glad I have my children. And it's taught me a lot to go through what I've gone through. And it's comforting to know that in the future, if I feel my eyes start twitching, it's her telling me to stop, that person's not right for me. So I had to laugh about that. It was funny. All right, guys. Well, just know, start looking for signs, or start asking for signs. Your ancestral team is here for you. And the card I pulled today went right along with this. It's from the Chakra Healing deck, and it's called Ancestral Wisdom. It says, the ancestors see you We are the very ground, the soil, the foundation upon which you stand and build and become. You have, closer than your own breath, access to all that ever was, all that is, and all that will forever shall be. Anchor into this truth, and when you forget, come sit and hear our reassuring whispers among the trees, beckoning you to be still, to remember, and to know. And I love that. And they are always with you, and they are only a thought away, really. Well, I want to thank you guys for listening. And if you happen to see my Facebook Live, and if you see the thing standing behind me, the whatever it was, a guide, I think it's a guide, let me know. I'd love to hear whether you saw it or not. And I want to thank you for joining me on the live. It's so much fun to be able to do that and to connect with you all and give you messages. As always, if you like this podcast, please share it with others. Please subscribe. That helps a lot of people find me, and my message is to spread the message to as many people as possible. And I'm so absolutely thrilled by how many people listen to my podcast, and I just want to thank you all for that. If you need anything from me, don't hesitate to reach out. You can call me, you can text me, you can message me on Facebook or on Instagram. People do that all the time. Or you can email me. Did I say email me? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's so many ways to get a hold of me. I absolutely don't mind you reaching out. I love hearing from you all. If you could take a second and leave a review for me from wherever you're listening, that would be amazing. And thank you to all of you who have already done that. I just want to thank you all for being a part of my soul tribe. I love each and every one of you. Even if you say, yeah, but you don't know me, I do love you. And I send love out to each and every one of you every night before I go to bed. I connect with you and send you my love. And I hope that you feel it. I hope that you have a beautiful day. And that if you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out. I will talk to you all again soon. I am sending you massive love and light. Bye-bye.